Welcome back to Venetian Poker Live. It is time for a tournament final table. We have the DeepStack $800 Ultimate Stack for you today. 200K guaranteed prize pool, $41,000 up top for the winner as we take you inside the beautiful brand new Venetian Poker Room located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. My name is Remco Rinkema, Donnie Peters alongside me in the booth to bring you this final table coverage. The final 7 players are guaranteed $6,700, and you know, one lucky player here will parlay their $800 entry into $41,000. So quite the spin up here for one of these lucky players. I guess it's a hat kind of day. 5 of the 7 players wearing hats. Let's see if the players without hats can perhaps do something to stop this fashion trend. All jokes aside here, we're playing 30K, 60K with a 60K big blind ante. There is quite a bit of play left here at this final table as we see our chip leader here in the 1 seat from Kazakhstan, Baurzhan Akimov, with $572,000 in career tournament earnings, come in for a raise here with pocket tens right away. The 2023 GPI Player of the Year of Kazakhstan, and Dustin Iannotti, probably the most known players, at least to Donnie and I here at this final table, looking down at King Queen. Donnie, welcome to the show.
Hello. It's good to be back.
Yeah, where were you?
I don't know. I don't know. Poker, PLO, things.
It's good to have you back in the booth here. Yeah, we're getting right to the action.
Yeah, tricky spot right out of the gate here for Iannotti. You know, a lot of times sub 20 bigs could find a 3-bet jam with king queen off. That said, Akimov is raising from first position, so might figure that he is strong. So I think not all in 3-bet is worth it here.
Timothy Pye next to act. Of course, we remember him from his earlier presence at one of our Venetian Poker Live final tables. He made the final table of the MSPT we had here not too long ago. Iannotti comes with 300K on the 3-bet, actually falls back around to Akimov. And look at this. Let's go with pocket tens. That's a lot of respect.
Feels like too much respect, to be honest.
A third of his stack Iannotti put in there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the non-all-in 3-bet looks strong, yes, but I think there's going to be some of the range, like Iannotti did showcase there, that are the raise fold variety. I think tens makes it in to go with. You know, maybe you think about eights, right?
Dustin Iannotti, founder of Artisans on Fire, digital marketing agency, also responsible for the incredible Alan Keating vlogs, aka documentaries, that we've been able to watch on YouTube recently. So shout out to Dustin for creating some incredible content. He, of course, goes way back in the game of poker. He's been around the game for a very long time. Also had his share of his personal success at the poker table. But he still says that his proudest moment was losing to Phil Ivey in the main event.
I mean, it's a pretty good proud moment.
Absolutely. Shout out to the chat, everyone who is watching us on the PokerGo YouTube channel and or on the Venetian Poker Live YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. A bit of a change of pace from last Saturday's cash game as we see Jeffrey shove here.
Did Iannotti think he was the big blind here? Because limping the 7 deuce is
interesting.
Probably not what he was looking to do, and he would have been under the gun. So I'm guessing he meant to, or he thought he was the big blind there.
That's interesting. Well,
We're going to get the news right here that he's about to post the big blind again.
Yeah, I know. Let's see what happens here as Aftab Jeffrey takes down his first pot of the day. Former senior engineer from Newmarket, Maryland. He is, by the way, our short stack, which is 9 big blinds, so that was quite a big pickup for him. And here is a look at our quote-unquote headliner of the day. I think Chang will have plenty of support in the chat. Eric Chang goes by Slick Rick on YouTube, has a channel where he posts hands, updates, wins and losses, so go check him out. Find Slick Rick without the K, R-I-C, Slick Rick Poker on YouTube. You can find him, give him a follow, support what he does as he comes in for the raise here with ace-4 spades. Akimov going to make the call from the small blind. Iannotti finds the offsuit suited connector.
Yeah, and I think this might give us a sense of how Akimov is going to be playing, you know, flatting here. I want to say, if I remember correctly from some of my studies, there could be a case that he could have just ripped 2 6s. I know it sounds crazy, but, you know, max pressure against your opponent. That said, your opponent's also deep enough, so if you want to set mine, don't totally hate it. And bingo, set.
Wow, ace, jack 6. Akimov flops the set of 6s. Chang flops top pair. But this is not the kind of top pair we go crazy with.
No, but I think you do try and find some value. Probably a 1 or 2 street hand, not a 3 street hand. You know, your opponents are calling out of the 2 blinds. Iannotti's probably somewhat wide, getting a good price from the big blind. And then, you know, you just have to trust your reads on what you can peg Akimov's range for. You know, have you played with him throughout? What sort of hands is he flatting out of the small blind? Is it going to be these small pocket pair type of hands, or is he going to also be playing hands like, you know, let's say ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, stuff like that? Is he going to play them a little bit slower from the small blind? I will say that, you know, if he has a small pocket pair, 6s and 5s, yes. I don't think he has jacks at all here. I think that's just a standard 3-bet from the small blind. But your hand is still good once you check back a flop that you have to call at least 1, and then you can see what sort of sizing Akimov comes with on the river.
The river brings the 10 of clubs. Akimov, of course, now considering what kind of value can I extract here from my opponent with almost $1 million in the middle. Would you go perhaps smaller to get called by weaker holdings?
I'd probably go 2/3. You know, I think trying to get 2 streets, get somewhat greedy but not overly greedy about your hand. I think there are going to be a lot of medium to weaker aces here from Chang that are played just like this. You know, check back flop and then just call down.
Well, Akimov goes for slightly more than half the pot, and he's going to get the call, and Chang is going to see the bad news as Akimov tables his set of 6s. We have some serious blood being drawn here on the 3rd hand of play. Akimov, who started as the chip leader, now expanding that lead to 4.9 million versus the next closest stack, both Pi and Edwards, on 1.6.
Yeah, and this is really going to allow Akimov to put a lot of pressure on his opponents. He had a big chip lead before, but now it is much larger. And of course, Chang was 2nd in chip, so he widens that gap with the field further, does Akimov.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Action here over to Jeffrey. He's in the cutoff. Pitches the ace-8 off. Sub 10 big blinds there in the cutoff. Probably could have found a shove, but he takes the more conservative approach. Akimov attacking on the button, and it folds to Pi in the big blind. He gives it up, so chip leader wins another one.
Chang.
How come he never says it? Let's hear you say it.
Baurzhan.
Oh,
Baurzhan.
Baurzhan.
Baurzhan. This streaming stuff is hard. You see what I did that hand? The second hand? You saw what I did? Thought it was the big blind.
What did you have?
I had 7 deuce.
There you hear it there. Dustin Iannotti did think he was the big hand.
Not a good enough hand against a
Oh,
friend over
no.
Akimov finds a couple of
there. Thought it was
aces
the big
here.
blind. Called 30. Called 60.
He's been
We can't all be
active
like
early,
Baurzhan.
so wonder if anyone picks up on that and gives him some action. Play folds to Chang in the big blind. Jack 4 suited for him. Only potential customer remaining. He is in there, so heads up we go to the flop. Chang versus Akimov. 10-9-4. Ace is still out in front here for Akimov as Chang checks over to him. $110,000 is the bet. Chang coming along here, deuce of spades on the turn.
A little optimistic here from Chang, perhaps, given the small stack size he has to work with relatively to go after something as tough to hit as like a backdoor draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chang just, you know, you flop a pair, you got to call one street at least, you know, especially if you're up against late position chip leader. He's going to be firing pretty wide on the flop, I would imagine. So it's not always just value there. I think now, you know, you probably just have to fold.
Akimov, though, goes extremely small, 180 into 550.
Yeah, and in this specific situation, I mean, this is priced extremely well to keep Chang coming along. And Akimov's in a great spot.
10 of spades on the river. Actually goes check, check, and Jack 4 not going to do it here. Akimov going to show the aces and take this one down to yet again extend his chip lead. Now up to 5.5 million, and Chang now below $1 million. Only a couple of hands into this final table. By the way, I see Viraj in the chat asking about Kumar at this final table, where he's from. Let me go tell you right now, because we have some information here. Hemanth Kumar from Chennai, India, now living in California. Master's degree in electrical engineering from San Jose State University. Has had some results as well, as we see Kumar here in the big blind right now. His largest score, by the way, 11,000 in the little one for one drop. So only 2 pay jumps needed for Kumar to get his largest result of his live tournament career. Has made a final table at a Venetian DeepStack event back in 2019, finishing second in the $400 monster stack. And Donnie, if you're Akimov, no reason to fold any hands at this point.
No, I mean, really no reason to slow down at all, you know, especially because the other players have certainly shown that they're going to just allow you to do whatever you want, you know, other than that very first hand. You know, it's been the Akimov show, and as it should be, he is the very, very large chip leader, and another raise and take it there. Of course, every time he raises and takes, you know, just the blinds and ante, it's not the biggest improvement to his stack, but as the other players are a bit shorter, it just takes chips away that they can win. So it is important that Akimov does continue to stay quite a bit relentless here.
Jeffrey the short stack with 9 big blinds. And of course, ICM considerations a very real thing here. These players have only invested $800, so the pay jump's extremely significant in that regard, and
Baurzhan.
folding is definitely valuable.
Pi pointing out that Akimov actually folded pre-flop. Shocking, we know. Does open the door here for Iannotti.
Yeah, ace queen for Iannotti, good enough to go with here. Well, how do you play back at a jam here from Pi? Let's just do some hypotheticals here.
Yeah, I mean, probably player dependent. You know, if you have any sort of reads or anything on Pi, how he's been playing. You know, if he's somebody who's a little bit more on the conservative side, then you probably just have to fold it. If he is going to have some of these 3-bet folds, which I'm guessing this is in that range, King Jack, I think then you do have to go with it. Kind of a similar spot to what Iannotti opened the day with, where he had the king queen off and came with the small 3-bet. This is very small here. It's probably not the worst for Iannotti to call. I know it's not the best having to play it out of position, but it's just so small that I don't think you're going to want to fold here. So call or jam.
Iannotti started this hand with 17 big blinds. Pi has him covered by just a few here, and we are going to see a call. So we're going to see heads-up action here on the flop. 5-15 in the middle. Very significant pot for both players. Iannotti just slightly more left than the pot size. King, queen, 7. Now, this is all Pi right now, but Iannotti must feel as though this could be worth continuing on.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what sort of sizing Pi comes with here. It's kind of a tricky spot for Iannotti. You know, he blocks the ace-king, for example. You know, how often is your opponent going to have aces? You block that as well. But again, you know, going back to how you assess the pre-flop ranges, if the hand's like king-jack off, maybe even king-10 off, if he's a little bit looser than most, get in there. Well, this does favor Pi. Also have to factor in, you know, how is he going to play a hand like 2 10s, 2 jacks? Is he going to come with a small 3-bet pre-flop, or is he going to likely just try and get those in pre-flop? And then if he, you know, if he were to come with a small 3-bet, would he continue here? I mean, I think it's worth calling one for sure, especially at this price. I mean, look how small this is.
Yeah, Pi just goes 80,000 into 640. You know, it's almost like a check at this point. And Iannotti makes the call, 7 pairs on the turn. Action back on Pi. Such an interesting situation, and also from Pi's perspective, you know, got to give Iannotti credit for a range that includes strong hands, and the ace on the river is going to save Iannotti, and at this point, we're probably going to lead here, right?
Yeah, I think you just want to bet your own hand. You know, I think the hands you're most concerned about, let's say kings, queens, ace, king, even aces, I think all those hands are just going to be betting the turn. So I would prefer to lead here on the river. You know, don't give your opponent a chance to check back.
Well, Iannotti does opt to check. Now, for Pi, there's probably too much of a concern that an ace is in Iannotti's range for him to even consider going for value here.
Yeah, no, I agree. He does check back. I mean, even Jack 10, you know, a Jack 10 suited, for example, later position there from Iannotti could certainly be opening it and then, you know, peeling to a small 3-bet. Of course, peeling a very, very small flop bet. So wouldn't entirely rule that out either.
All right, once again, much love to everyone in the chat. I see some support for Slick Rick. Dustin Iannotti, those two definitely the fan favorites, as it seems. Proofsy asking if the PLO series is over. Yes, that wrapped up on Saturday night. You can rewatch those final tables on the PokerGo YouTube channel. Also seeing Jose tuning in from Saskatchewan. Yeah, do feel free to let us know where you're tuned in from. All we ask of you on these live streams is to please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We very much appreciate you all for tuning in. We're going to show this final table until a winner is crowned, who will walk away with a $41,000 payday off their $800 investment. And the reason I emphasize this is because that means that you, the viewer, could also one day play on this beautiful set, because Venetian offers tons and tons of live streamed final tables these days. This UltimateStack event started 4 days ago. The next one kicks off on April 23rd. So mark your calendars, April 23rd, day 1A of the next live streamed UltimateStack. All right, Chang here, Jack 10 suited, is going to jam for 885. Still 14 bigs, Donnie?
Yeah, but I think this is fine to jam here. I mean, even if you end up getting called by anyone, or if anyone rejams behind you, you're probably going to have plenty of equity. Kind of be hard to play it if you raise and get 3-bet non all in. If you raise and get 3-bet jammed on, do you really want to call it off with Jack 10 suited? You know, especially when you have Jeffrey over there that's so short. So just make everyone pick up a hand. And again, if you do get called, Jack 10 suited probably plays well when you're running out 5 cards.
All right, here's a look at the current chip count standings. Baurzhan Akimov running away with it for now. The question is, can any of these other players mount a bit of a comeback to give him some resistance? Aftab Jeffrey at the bottom of the counts will be the first to be forced all in if it comes down to it.
Nice one here under the gun for Iannotti. Ace king off. He's been picking up some hands early.
Where is he? 45?
$120.
Oh, 120. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
120 from Iannotti to kick things off on this hand. And Chang finds a really nice looking pair of 8s.
Yeah, this is kind of a gross spot. You know, you have an under the gun open here, which, you know, obviously under the gun tends to be higher up in the range. You're kind of in that weird middle ground with this pair. You're going to be beat a fair amount of the time. You're going to be flipping other times. I mean, how many times are you actually ahead? You have that very short stack of Jeffrey.
Come on.
All in, players all in.
Oh, wow, here comes Jeffrey to create some three-way action potentially. Moves all in with ace-9. And the fact that he opens the action back up is got to sort of lure Iannotti into wanting to make this a heads-up pot.
Yeah, I think Iannotti will jam here. This feels like some impatience here from Jeffrey. You know, you have an under the gun raise and a call off a 17 big blind stack from Chang. So ace-9 off probably doesn't make the cut there, but Jeffrey goes with it nonetheless.
And this gives Chang a chance to get out of the way. We'll find out over the course of the next 5 cards
You look good.
whether his 8s would have been the hand. But for now, Iannotti in a terrific spot here to reduce this field to 6 as Jeffrey with ace-9
You're not going to counteract the stand-up?
looks for a bit of hope here.
Your backpack.
Yeah. Oh, the back.
Standing
We'll
up
see
and grabbing the
flop.
backpack.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do a half swing.
Okay.
Classic move here. Jeffrey, 24% to survive. Can he find some hope on the flop? And we see 10-6 deuce, 2 hearts. Jeffrey looking for one of the 3 remaining 9s in the deck. Chang's 8s would have still been humming along here if he had shoved himself. The 3 of diamonds keeps the situation as is. Jeffrey needs a 9 or else his day will be done. River card is the deuce of spades.
Hey, nice play. Played well. Played great.
Aftab Jeffrey eliminated in 7th place, takes home $6,785. Still a decent ROI for his efforts. And Dustin Iannotti now up to over 2 million chips. He's been very involved from the start. And he is looking good now in 2nd place.
Yeah, excellent pickup there for Iannotti. And Chang, you know, he would have won with those 8s, but really nothing he can do there given that spot.
I channeled Baurzhan there.
I thought you were dead. I thought
I thought there was
nine ball was.
I thought there was no way, but I was ready. I was going to put on half my backpack and then
9 ball.
Yep. Doesn't really work when you have more chips. But.
Big bundles.
There were 2 hearts on the flop, so I figured, you know, he might be only 2 outs.
I had a 9, so he was drawing real.
Okay, yeah.
All right, looking at the short stacks right now. Pai, Chang, and Kumar all within a few big blinds of each other, and Kumar with King 10 off is going to get into action for his first pot of the day.
120.
Edwards also involved for the first time today. He's going to make the call with ace-2 suited, and Akimov in the small blind is getting a decent price here, even though he's out of position, but some implied odds here potentially.
Yeah, I mean, he could call if he wants to play a multi-way pie. He's obviously got the chips to do it. 3-betting seems a little difficult in that spot just because both Kumar and Edwards, they haven't played a hand up until this point. That also does make it interesting that you do see Edwards flat here. Now, yes, he is in position, but Kumar is opening off 15 big blinds and has not entered a single pot until this point. So that would tell me he's probably got a pretty good hand. Of course, we have the benefit of seeing the cards, so that's a little bit weird to say knowing I'm looking at King 10 off here, but still, I would have probably pitched the ace-2 suited.
Well, Iannotti is going to accept the invite from the big blind, and we see 8-3 deuce 2 diamonds. Edwards with the nut diamonds as well as a pair of deuces. Kumar misses, and Iannotti with top pair queen kicker. Now, how far are we willing to take this top pair for Iannotti if we see any sort of aggression from these 2 players who entered their first pot after 10 hands of play?
Well, I think you're definitely going to be taking it past the flop. Of course, there are, you know, several scare cards that could change things.
Bet 220.
Edwards is going to put out 220. Action now over to Iannotti. And Edwards, by the way, started this hand with 1.4 million, 23 big blinds.
Now, I think his hand looks a little bit more like the type of hand that he has, flush draw type of holdings. I would guess that given the positions that Kumar and Edwards are in, Edwards is effectively on the button here, and given their stack sizes, hands like 9s, 10s, jacks, you know, all those he just puts in pre-flop. So if I was Iannotti, maybe I just elect to check jam over those stack sizes. I do have a little bit more of a comfort knowing that I just won a big pot to get up over 30 big blinds.
Well,
look at this trick from Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards hits the nuts on the turn. He's got the ace-high flush and opts to check back. Almost $1 million in the middle as we see the 7 of hearts on the river. Iannotti not going to bite himself here. Edwards has to do his own betting.
$150.
And look at this, Edwards coming real small with 150.
If he can find a fold here, I think it would be very, very good. Very much discipline here, given how small this is. I think your hand has too much value to turn it into a bluff and raise it, but I also think it doesn't have enough value that you want to raise it for value. So I would lean to just call here.
Oh, showdown.
Does make the call, and Edwards gets
Jump
some
call.
additional value here. Do you think Edwards could have made more chips in this
Very good
situation,
flop.
making
Yeah.
any changes to his decisions?
Yeah, like I think he could have bet the turn. That's one path. And just possibly try and go 3 streets. I think he also could have bet a little bit larger on the end if you do want to check back on the turn like that. So I think either of those probably would have allowed him to make. I mean, it's not a ton more, right? But maybe he makes 200,000 or 300,000 more,
This
which
is
at this
okay.
juncture, it does add up quite a bit.
Well, Edwards jumping up the leaderboard now into second place, up to over 2 million. Iannotti taking a step back into third here. Once again, welcome to the show, everyone who is watching on this lovely Monday night in Las Vegas. I feel like we can finally say that spring has started, and it's going to be summer next week. That's just how it goes in Las Vegas. The action also heating up around town.
Oh, sorry.
We're excited to have you all tuned in for this one.
That's what he meant by this hand.
Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to our
All
channel.
pressure.
By the way,
Right.
over 5,000 subscribers now on the Venetian Poker Live channel.
Cruising.
Cruising along. Join the community if you haven't already. There's a link in the PokerGo YouTube chat if you want to join us on Venetian Poker Live. Patrick Chen in the chat says, good luck, Slick Rick. Seeing lots of people rooting for Chang here as we see the action fold to Iannotti in the small blind.
Just gives a walk. Look at
Find out.
that.
What do we got? Woo. Domination.
With the size of the big blind ante, would you more often than not complete?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a fan of giving walks unless different sort of ICM situations might call for it, you know, preserving your stack. But there, I think a limp is fine. And, you know, if Chang does come with a raise, I think you could just limp fold.
And Edwards with a very playable pocket eights.
It's a 160 min raise.
160.
160.
I'm curious if that meant that he was trying to go 2.5x, or if he just shorted a min raise, right? Because obviously that's a, you know, if you're going 2.5x, that's a fairly large raise at this point of the tournament. So, not that we're ever going to know, but
400.
yeah.
Yeah, so Akimov is going to come over the top here at 400 with ace-5 of hearts in position. The suited wheel card aces, the new darlings of modern poker theory.
Yeah, and listen, you can leverage that ace as a blocker here. You have position on your opponent. And you can, oh, wait, hold on.
Wow.
Chang picks up kings here. I was going to say quickly that Akimov could put a lot of pressure on Edwards, with Edwards now being second in chips, right? You know, you're the bigger stack than him. You're the only one that can ultimately take him out of the tournament. So use this spot, try and apply maximum leverage, and really put Edwards in a really crappy spot with a hand like he has, 2-8s.
Now, Chang, of course,
All in. Players
only left with one move here. Flatting for half a stack would look extremely suspicious. At least by shoving, he widens his own range a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he can have, you know, let's say ace-king, ace-queen suited, stuff like that. It's, you hate it if you're Akimov because it's like a min jam.
Right.
Like, it's like well, I kind of got a call, and if he does have 2 kings, it's kind of fine. If he has 2 aces, okay, I just ran into it.
And Edwards is going to surrender his 8s. Akimov knows that he is priced in, and we're going to see a big all-in showdown here. Slick Rick at risk, but
Look at the smile.
I didn't like it either.
Why not? You got kings.
yeah, let's go. 2 million in the middle.
Too many times.
Have an all-in in the call.
Chang looking for his kings to hold. Akimov looking for a way to reduce this field to the final 5. Here comes the flop. 8, queen, 3. Edwards might want to look away here.
Not sweaty at all.
Playing hypotheticals, of course, not allowed in poker,
It's
but hey.
going to get sweaty.
Okay, okay.
So,
How about, what do we want here?
2 of spades.
Deuce?
Eights, of
Deuce?
course.
Okay, deuce.
Deuce of
deuce.
spades.
Deuce of spades.
Pocket ace.
I had 8s, of course.
Oh, wow.
Edwards communicated to the table that he did
Okay.
indeed fold 8s. 7 on the turn gives Akimov just 3 outs. No backdoors available here. Chang, 1 card away from a double up. And the
Whoa.
8 of diamonds on the river would have given Edwards quads, but there simply
say
is no
quads?
scenario
Yeah. Oh, no.
in which he ends up all in there.
I mean, unless he just wants to get absolutely wild and, you know, jam
Blend
pre
the
or
stack.
something like that. But that's just, you can't
Would
do
you
anything
call
but
the
put the
a
8s
reshove?
in the muck there.
8,
How can I call if you had
835.
what?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't,
This is true.
it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been
Fair.
fair.
Very fair.
35?
So that's 5, 8.
Baurzhan
35.
Akimov
Okay.
able to deal with this blow. He is down to 4.6 million and still has a big chip lead over the rest of the field. Akimov's live results date back to 2015,
That's
so
King's holder.
an
I
experienced
don't know.
player
I'm surprised.
No,
who's made
no
his
one
mark
expected that.
Yeah.
around the world, #1 on Kazakhstan's all-time money list.
I thought I was drawing dead.
Wesley, John, and Patrick, as well as Tony and Shocks, all rooting for their guy. Slick Rick now on just shy of 2 million, making him a real contender. And Edwards gets right back to it, finds ace king.
It's 160 anyways.
Oh, sorry. I thought that.
So where's 160?
$160 here. Actually folds to Kumar in the big blind. Just down to 670 if he folds here, paying the big blind and the big blind ante. Just has to call a min raise. And here we go. We're going to see a flop.
Call 160.
Perhaps looking to get aggressive here if we flop a flush draw.
If he flops anything, right?
7, deuce, 4. That is qualifying
All in.
as
All
anything.
in, play
And
all in.
he moves all in right away. Nice move there from Kumar.
Yeah, I mean, top pair ultimately decides to go with it. Well done by him. I'm getting that pickup.
Always flop lag.
Huh?
Always flop lag.
That's the flop we needed.
Yeah. That's what I was.
First
yeah.
yeah.
I had for juice.
Did you have like king, queen suit or something? King, queen of hearts? Come on now.
Pretty good guess.
Okay.
Pretty good guess.
One's
80.
40, 80.
40, 80.
Yeah.
Got it.
Raise 160.
Akimov comes in for 160 now. Iannotti finds sixes to his direct left. The middling pairs becoming harder and harder to play at final tables like these.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of an awkward stack size too. Again, you do have that under the gun raise. Now that said, listen, I mean, is there an argument to small 3-bet once again? I mean, the guy folded 10s before when it happened on the first hand of the day, and you had king, queen off. I think I do prefer just putting those sixes into the muck.
Pi finds ace jack, and it looks as though we're going to have a 3-bet coming here.
Where is it? 600.
600,000 is the 3-bet from Pi, putting more than half his chips in the middle, and that'll do it. That'll get it done. Once again, back to the schedule here over at the Venetian Poker Room. I mentioned the next Ultimate Stack $800 buy-in kicking off on April 23rd. That event will have 4 starting days. Sunday, April 27th will be day 2, and then the final table on Monday. So if you're in town for that week, please come on down and play that. And then on May 1st, the next 1K Ultimate Stack with a 300K guaranteed gets going. That's going to have its final table on Monday, May 5th. And then last but not least, another $800 event with a 300K guaranteed on May 7th, kicking off with 4 starting flights and the final table on Monday the 12th. So keep an eye on everything that Venetian is putting on their Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. If you're in town, as Tommy La Rosa, the man who runs the Venetian Poker Room, says, if you're in town, there should be something to play for you. Venetian does a great job at facilitating that for those that travel to town or even are just local to Las Vegas. I spoke to Tristan Wade the other day, Donnie, and he played the $800 event here that we are seeing right now. And he said it was insane how many people he recognized in the poker room. You know, all the local players just come out for these events. Pivot back here to the action. This is a big one potentially.
Yeah, this is probably going to result in all-in clash between these two. I mean, maybe Chang finds a tough fold being second in chips, but I mean, we've already seen Akimov 3-bet once with ace-5 suited. That's the hand that Chang woke up with 2 kings on. So knowing that, knowing he's been willing to get after it, I think this money ends up getting in here.
Absolute brutal cooler at the final table. Slick Rick finding 2 10s against the chip leader. And he moves all in with 2 10s. Action back on Akimov. He's going to toss in the call. We're going to have the biggest pot of the tournament. 4 million chips in the middle, and Slick Rick with a very small chance of survival, pair versus pair.
Okay, now you ask for sweaty.
And the rich about to get a lot richer.
Oh, I would like some sweat. Maybe some hearts.
Okay.
What a massive clash here. Could Chang have
Sweaty
played
flop.
this any other way?
I mean, it's hard. You know Akimov's been getting after it, so it's just a bit of a cooler, to be honest.
All right, here comes the flop. Queen 8-8. Chang
Decent start.
looking for a 10, but as we can see here,
Oh, wait.
10's
No,
not
No,
available
no,
to
no,
him.
no, no,
There's
sorry.
no way.
He wanted the 8-9 queen,
Yeah.
not the 8-8.
Chang
You're right. You're right.
looking for another way to escape here, and the ace of diamonds is going to remove those options for him. Absolutely brutal way to go out in a 4 million chip pot. River card brings the king of clubs,
man.
and Slick Rick gets eliminated from this final table. Eric Chang, follow him on YouTube. We'll probably have some content about this final table and what
know
other,
what
other
this calls
options
for.
he might have had with those 10s, but obviously
Come on.
understandable
Yeah. We talk deal now, right?
like,
with the big pair.
Equal chop. Equal chop, right?
Equal.
Equal chop. Yep.
A
Plus
whopping
I think he'd go for it.
6.5
Yeah.
Oh,
million
yeah,
for
you go for
Baurzhan
it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Give him
Akimov.
200.
Oh, okay, all right, maybe 100 each.
There
Here's
you
a
go.
look at the
There you go.
updated chip counts. Stacks 2, 3, and 4, very close. Hemanth Kumar, the shortest stack on 12 big blinds. And Kumar probably more than happy to get himself 2 pay raises without having to do any of the heavy lifting himself.
Yeah, and if he just stays the course, he could be in line for 1 or 2 more with the way that he's been laddering up.
Playing 40K, 80K.
I will say the one thing that might have led Chang to possibly not go broke there. I mean, I still think it is a bit of a cooler in that
You guys want to
spot,
do some coloring?
is
out?
that
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
maybe he views himself as deep enough to flat there, ultimately being able to play in position. Might be tricky, yes. Or 2, 3-betting out of the big blind tends to be a little bit of a tighter range. You know, even if he has a hand like he 3-bet with before, the ace-5 suited, that was a different situation where he was in position against the original pre-flop raiser. I'm talking about Akimov there. Probably just flats the ace-5 suited pre, you know, and tries to take it post. So, you know, those things probably lean that, yeah, he could have a bigger hand than 10s. But again, you know, Akimov has been getting after it.
I mean,
And
Akimov
speaking
here
of
with
10s, he
yeah.
won that hand.
I know, and over half the chips in play now. With 5 players remaining, dominant situation for him here.
Yeah, not only is it a chip stack or a chip leading stack of over half the chips in play, but he's got Kumar over there who's sitting with around 12 big blinds. So that really does handcuff the other 3 players at the table because they're all bunched in between 17 to 19 bigs. I mean, even a hand like this, I think it's fine for Akimov just to open. And he is going to do that.
Yeah, great to see from Akimov here. Applying that pressure, knowing that both Iannotti and Pai have to be mindful of the short stack of Kumar. Don't want to burn any cash here.
Yeah, I mean, they're both going to have to pick up a hand. And even if Pai were to find something that he wants to defend the big blind with, he still has to play post against you as the chip leader. So you can make his life really, really difficult. I just think a lot of times players who have a big chip lead like this, like Akimov does, they'll be like, "Oh, I'll just take this hand off. You know, I've been active too much, or I've been raising too much. They're never going to believe me on the button." But you should always lean to be a little bit more aggressive than you think you might want to be. You know, that's often case the biggest thing that players don't do enough of in poker. Like, even if you think you're aggressive, you're probably not aggressive enough. And in Akimov's shoes, you know, until someone plays back at him, just keep firing away. Here again, Jack 3 suited, cutoff, let's go.
What does it tell you about the skill level of Akimov that he is picking up on things like this immediately?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely aware that he's been around the block, right? And when you play enough poker, you've probably had chip leads at various points, whether that's earlier in a tournament, on the money bubble, or like here at final tables. And I think he has generally a good feel that, yeah, this is now my tournament. I'm in the driver's seat, and I need to just press on the gas as much as possible.
Now, why would he limp here, though? This is something that I would not expect to see.
Yeah, I thought he grabbed raising chips. I mean, I think he should be raising here. I mean, maybe he's just worried about getting 3-bet. But if you get 3-bet, I mean, okay, just fold. They probably just have it, right? I mean, they're not, I don't think they're going to get 2 out of line.
Pai in the small blind, having to try and interpret whatever this limp means. It's also like confusing in these spots when you expect a certain pattern and then something different happens.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think he would be limping. Why would you ever limp a premium? Like, why would he limp aces here? You just raise, right? You've been so active, just raise. So it almost feels like it would be a hand like deuces,
Right.
if anything. And then if you're high from the small blind, I think Jack 10 off is enough for, you know, half a big blind to get in there. Hopefully you flop something somewhat decent. Big blind's just going to have a random hand. Yeah, and if, you know, if the big blind raises and you have to fold, or if you whip the flop and you have to give it up, okay, you gave up an extra big blind. But I think you can flop good enough post with Jack 10 off. And then I do think it's interesting there that,
Thank you.
I mean, I think we could have expected
Thank you.
Akimov to fire probably any flop there. He did bet the ace-king-9. And I know Kumar didn't flop anything other than some back doors, but probably just file that in the back of your mind, be like, okay, he limped from the cutoff, and now he's betting an ace-high flop.
Right.
Like, I should, like, let's just remember that for possibly, you know, in the future.
Once again, welcome to the show. A little Monday afternoon final table poker action here on the PokerGo channels as well as on Venetian Poker Live. Please do us a favor. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Venetian Poker Live. Brand new on the internet. Trying to bring you high quality poker content, cash games, and tournaments.
Couple of 10s for Pi now on the button. 10s have been the hot hand. What's that, the 4th time that we've seen him?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how that goes sometimes.
Raise 170.
Pi makes it 170. Kumar in the small blind still just looking for a good spot to shove or reshove. Kumar really thinking about it here?
Yeah, I can't tell if he's actually thinking about it or if he's just posturing here. I mean, it definitely looked like he obviously looked back at his hand a couple of times and then looked right at his chips, kind of like at least giving me the idea that he might have had some thoughts there that he wanted to get a little bit crazy.
Okay. You're still really low.
One thing again, I'm just a big fan of the chips. They're very distinct colors, nothing really blended in together with one another. That's like one of the most underrated things I always feel like in a poker tournament.
JC asking whether Akimov is Kazakh. Yes, he is from Kazakhstan. He's #1 on the Kazakhstan all-time money list, also the 2023 Kazakhstan GPI Player of the Year. So this man knows his way around the tournament. 572,000 in career tournament earnings. Trying to add 40,000 to that. A shout out here to Kimok in the chat. Says that he played in the Venetian Poker Room last week. He said the best 1-3-0 limit. And then every 30 minutes during the dealer change, they did a PLO double board bomb pot. And he said half the players had little experience in PLO. So, you know, take that for what it is, but that sounds like a good opportunity for some fun gambling action if you can get into a game like that.
To 190. 190.
Philip joining us on Venetian Poker Live. Philip, thank you for tuning into the chat. Everyone, please, you know, feel free to send your questions, requests, thoughts, and other things you have on your mind. We're trying to make this an engaging show, accessible for players from all levels. And this one will go to Edwards with the pre-flop raise. Wide levels here. 40 minutes in length during this event. Lots of room to play for these players. Right now, things might look a little skewed because of how many of those chips Akimov has in front of him. Broski Poker in the chat says, love the new Venetian Poker Room. I think you speak for all of us. Love it here. Especially with the in-room dining, the beverage station, coffee machine. I mean, come on. What else can you wish for as a player?
Raise 160,000.
Kumar has said enough folding.
Yeah, it's going to come in with the Jack-3 offsuit. A little, I don't know, speculative at least, and also given his stack size, perhaps.
I'll say impatience.
Impatience,
You
yeah.
know, like after a while, you're folding for so long. You know, I mean, you've played enough poker. You kind of you start looking at hands. You're like, okay, this one maybe a little bit. You know, maybe I can do something here. I've been tight enough so far. Maybe I'll just raise. Everyone will fold. No, I mean.
Well, Edwards already made the call on the button, and now Iannotti with the suited ace in the big blinds. Gets kind of a nice invite here. Only have to pay 80K to see a 600,000 chip pot on the flop. Is Iannotti perhaps thinking about something other than calling?
I mean, he might be. He could just be kind of going through the situation. Like, let me think about how, you know, Kumar's been playing. What does his range kind of look like here? What does Edwards' look like as well? He knows before. This is the exact same situation before when, remember when Iannotti had the Queen-8 and flop 2 pair. It was an open from Kumar. It was a flat in position with Edwards. That time he had the ace-2 suited. Here he's got the ace-5 suited. So maybe just kind of thinking that through, you know, gathering himself before going to a flop. And once again, it's just Edwards with a flush.
I mean, second nut flush for Edwards in just 21 hands. Kumar quickly with the check back. If we're Edwards here, do we just go to the turn and hope that someone improves here because it is so hard for anyone else to have something of value?
Yeah, I think it's certainly fine to just check back here. I don't think you're really worried about much. You hope someone can turn something to, at least in their mind, catch up to you that you can get some value from.
Check.
7 of spades on the turn. Not helping anyone.
Check.
Kumar just giving up at this point. Perhaps the 10 on the river would be
Check.
costly to him. And Edwards thinking like, yeah, if no one has anything, I might as well keep checking, hoping that someone backs into a hand of value. Or perhaps someone wants to bluff at it.
Check.
And now it'll finally come down to Edwards doing some betting of his own.
Yeah, let's see if he goes small again. Last time when he checked back turn and bet his flush on the river, he went very small on the end. This looks like it's going to be quite a bit larger.
500,000.
This is 500,000. Wow. Big bet from Edwards. And gets it without finding a customer. All right, Edwards up to 2 million. Kumar pushed further down. Now just on 7 big blinds.
see if Kumar decides to go with this one. 7 bigs under the gun. Almost 8 bigs, but still. You know you got to pay 2 big blinds on the next hand. He does just give up Jack 9 suited.
Fold, fold. Call.
Akimov again with a limp here. I'm starting to think that this is a major part of his strategy in general. Could have just applied that pressure. He's got the same players in the blinds that he fought with last orbit, and those players are both very much supposed to be concerned with Kumar's short stack.
Check. 2 players.
Jack 8-3 on the flop here. I have a feeling, Donnie, that Pi doesn't really know what to do with these limps. We saw him fold Jack 10 from the small blind on the last orbit when Akimov limped, and now Akimov almost with free reign to just, you know, take a stab here and perhaps buy one very cheaply.
Yeah, and you know, I think that Akimov could ultimately get himself into trouble. I mean, maybe he has a lot of experience limping like this and playing post, but you're allowing the big blind to just see a free flop. Whereas here, I think it would have been perfectly fine to open, yes. I think even jamming into stacks of 14 and, you know, 17, 18 big blinds behind you is also fine. Those players are going to want to definitely wake up with really big hands to call off because of where Kumar is with, you know, he's got 8 big blinds. He's about to post 2 big blinds from the big blind. So,
Raise to 240,000,
and I take everything back I just said.
but this is really good recognition from Pi. Like, I think he's well aware that Akimov is just limping super wide, is going to fire probably 100% on flop. So listen, I'm just going to check raise. If you got something, you got something, but you know, well, let's find out.
I like this a lot from Pi, applying that pressure, and you know, Akimov perhaps having to reassess whether limping is worth it. Could have and would have potentially taken this down with a raise again.
Now I think a limping strategy is probably a little bit more welcome if you're somebody like in the spot of Edwards, right? Where you're second in chips, maybe you don't want to raise and get 3-bet from Akimov, who has already 3-bet you, you know, in position before, so maybe you just come with some limps in that way. But as the big chip leader, just get it as aggressive as possible. Again, make the other players have to make big decisions, have to pick up big hands. Like, you know, don't make it easy for them.
Raise 160,000. Fold.
And Akimov now changes it back up to raising, and Pi finds jacks in the small blinds.
Raise.
Pi comes with the expected raise here. And it's a quick toss here from Pi. So 2 in a row here for, excuse me, expected fold there from Akimov. Pi's going to take this one down. Back-to-back pots. Once again, welcome to the show. If you are just tuning in, we are excited to bring you some final table coverage, mixing it up from the cash game action we had on Saturday. If you missed that cash game action, by the way, you can always go back and rewatch that on the Venetian Poker Live channel or on the Poker Go channels. JRB and Brian Oken brought in some of their friends to play, and it was quite the night. We ended with over $1 million on the table. The biggest game we've had so far at Venetian Poker Live. Many six-figure pots throughout the night.
All in.
All in.
And Kumar jamming Jack 7 of spades, only has to get through Edwards. Gets it done.
I saw it. It was black spade or club or something.
6 ASAP.
It's all the AC. I think you might have to slide it.
I
Yeah.
thought so too.
Yeah.
First card, 7 of clubs.
Nine of spades for Edwards. Very playable, of course, but out of position in the tournament against the chip leader. Got to flop really well.
Probably going to see some attacking here from Akimov. I mean, queen jack off, of course, isn't the worst of it. You can just look to leverage your opponent as much as possible here. So, yeah, he is going to firm with the raise. Understandable.
200,000 to 280,000.
Is there any way for Edwards to proceed here, or simply stack sizes do not allow for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have enough of a hand. 9-8 suited plays well. Even out of position against the chip leader, I think it's too good to just give up. I know he did make it a little bit larger, so just have to take a flop and proceed accordingly from there. I mean, this is not going to be the flop that Edwards can really do anything on. Akimov should just be betting this a large percentage of the time and is likely just going to win it right here.
$160,000.
160 the bet from Akimov. Edwards not even looking at any promising backdoors, simply seeing a flop that doesn't connect with him whatsoever, and he is going to let go of the 9-8 of spades. King deuce suited here for Edwards. Perhaps a opportunity here to steal the blinds. Now, how loose do we play back at button raises if we're Akimov, given the fact that Kumar is sort of sitting around waiting and Edwards has to pay close attention to those stack dynamics?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think he has to be wary of where Kumar is, you know, but I think you can still be,
Was it 180?
let's call it cautiously aggressive on the button.
Edwards going to take this.
Is it yours or mine?
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
You got a chip hiding over there in the corner too.
Oh, thank you.
Kumar with
All
ace
in.
deuce, and he announces all in. You got to take the spots that present themselves to you. And here we go. Kumar gets to take it down. Important pickup for him as the players will go on a 15-minute break. We have reached the end of the second level of the day. We're coming back to 50K or 100K after some highlights. Akimov on top, 85 big blinds. Play will resume in 15 minutes. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
We flop.
Yeah, that was
we go flop.
JRB did.
And Fabrice yells out, wait, you want to run it twice? Came 10 rag. I had aces. The other guy had kings. He had 10s. And flopped 10 rag. He's like, you want to run it twice from here?
Oh my God.
What are you doing? That's
Checking wasn't.
he
He scooped, right?
he scooped.
Mark was giving me the one.
I'll never forget that. He was the one who wanted to run it once. He flopped that set of 10s. So he's like, wait, stop. You want to run it twice?
That's crazy.
Fabrice.
Royski.
Oh, please let me win this pot.
600 from Oaken here. Roy with the 3-bet to 2,000. Call made. 10-10-9.
Talking about
two
tens,
clubs.
that's
Roy
spooky.
with the flush draw.
Always happens. You talk about a hand, and it shows up. Always happens.
How about when you have cards and you're playing and it's always the next board was just perfect for your hand from the last hand.
Dude, I had ace 10 last hand. Would have been lovely.
Oaken calling it 1,500 with fours. Let's see if Roy wants to continue to apply pressure here. Let's go check. Trying to hit a club here. Instead we see a queen.
Sugar, please. Yes, thank you. And you can just keep them closed. And then
Ooh, interesting here for
Thank you.
Roy. He knows the checking is not going to win him the pot, so if he wants to have a chance here, he's going to need to bet it.
Yeah, you know, if he thinks Oaken is in there with a hand like an 8-9, for example, then come firing at it, trying to get him to fold. And it looks like he's going to do just that.
Oh, you know what? I would like the coffee, please. 5,000. Get a cappuccino with 1 sugar and 1 brown sugar. 5,000.
5,000 is the bet here.
If I dump this hand,
Let me see.
I have a pair. If I dump this hand and he's bluffing me.
Oh man, he's gonna.
This is. Oh my God.
5K from Roy.
Royski on the stream. I never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah.
Gotta love this bet.
Oh, Roy.
Sounds like Roy's the type of guy to kind of rub it in if he gets a bluff
I love
through.
this dynamic.
Roy.
What do you got? Sixes?
What's the difference?
No difference.
Huh?
No difference.
He's got that 5K chip in hand. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Nice call, Brian Oaken.
The Royski. Good call. Oh my God, called so late.
That is a sick call from
If he would
Oaken.
have won that, dude, you just saved the game right there. He would have been on a tear after that.
Okay, here's my thing.
My mom, when she drinks wine, she has ice in it all the time.
I don't mind the idea of having a colder glass of wine. My problem is you got to drink it so fast before the ice melts, or otherwise it's going to water down your wine.
Yeah, no, I would just put like, 1 or 2 ice cubes
We
just
can
to,
dance, though.
quickly
You wanna
chill it down. Probably
All right.
also why I like sangria so
You
much.
do want to do.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Oh, baby.
Of course.
No pair.
No pair.
We got a big one here.
It's king.
Out of
Oh,
nowhere.
you're good. Yeah, you're very good.
Rips is tired of folding.
Two times.
Yeah. Good luck.
King Charles
Thank
gets
you.
him to pull the trigger. making the call here on the jam. We got a new biggest pot, 60,800.
Did they say once or twice?
I think we're going twice.
47 minutes to play his first hand.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
it in with a 3-outer.
10 king.
That's a good count there, yeah. That's a rips roll. He just. He couldn't write no more, you know?
Yeah.
2 times signaled from Charles. Rips, hoping to get lucky and chop this thing.
There it is.
Oh, jack in the middle. King right behind it.
Came too quick.
No diamonds alive here.
10?
Maybe
Queen
10 good.
gives us some outs here. River's the 3 of diamonds, and Rips already 1 jack short now.
30 something, I think.
Always feels good to win the first one.
Oh, it really does. Ace 9-4. No help for Rips, who's looking for a jack. River card 7 of spades, and Charles is going to win this thing.
It's 10, 20.
Heads up, right?
We won.
Throw some spades up there.
16K in the middle.
I'll tell you what, you have 2 queens, and
Oh my God.
you got to play out of position against 3 players. It is not too much fun.
7-4, 6-2 diamonds. Charles, top pair open-ended.
Just a
Trevor.
very, very tricky
Defense,
spot.
defense,
here.
Yeah.
Queens. Look at this board.
I mean, Rips has almost no choice but to try and thin the field with how loose these guys have been playing.
And Charles here's got top pair, and he's open-ended. Trevor's got top pair, really good kicker, and backdoor clubs.
34.
34,000 is the raise from Charles.
Now what do you do if you're Trevor? I mean, the way that this one played out pre-flop, I mean...
Trevor doesn't like folding. We saw him take the biggest possible swing earlier with ace-king.
What he said?
Right now, though,
Did he fix it or something?
the look of top pair
I asked, are you
might be extremely scary up against 2 players.
I mean, Charles can have a lot of hands like he has.
Wow.
Does he go for it?
He moves all in
Oh
for
my.
$75,000. And Trevor puts Rips in an impossible spot.
What do you do with queens here?
Look at Rips. His head's about to fall off his body. Trevor takes a sip of the nicely chilled Opus as he awaits decisions from both Rips and Charles.
Rips is just in a really bad spot. I mean, even if you do get involved here, put all your money in, and you somehow have the best hand, you have to always figure that your opponents have really, really good equity on this type of board. I mean, they can have diamonds, they can have combo draws, they can obviously have 2 pair sets, etc. They can already have made straights. Like, you don't have the queen of diamonds in your hand. Like, I know we can see he has the best hand currently, but I think you probably just have to fold this in, right? And it's, you know, completely understandable. This is not a fun spot to be in.
Yeah, but Donnie, Charles is out of his mind.
Well,
Trevor,
we know that.
Trevor has already shown that he literally has ice running through his veins.
I have a big hand. 75. Not big enough if you're thinking about it. I have a really big hand.
Snap. The thing is, Rips is not only up against Trevor. Charles is still behind him, and he's already got 34,000 in the middle.
Okay.
I can't imagine also Charles has ever folded too,
75.
which
35.
makes this so crazy.
If this goes to showdown between Charles and Trevor, Rips is going to lose his mind.
What? It's a big pot. Take your time. Don't rush.
He might be all right though. Should that happen, and you know, one of them like Trevor hits a king or Charles makes a straight, then you'll be like, okay, fine, right?
Oh.
But if the king 7 just holds, then he'll be like sent to the moon.
He could also still call. Rips added $100,000 to his stack to want to make sure he covers ace, the other big stack at the table.
My hand's definitely
But right now, he is asked to commit at least 75K, but then he also knows that if Charles goes for this, that's going to be over 100. It is still possible this becomes a three-way all-in. I just want to say that for the record.
And, you know, many of us who have played poker, yourself included, like you get in these spots where it just hasn't been your night, hasn't been your tournament, whatever it is, and then you get such a big hand, and it's like, really? Like, this is still happening to me?
I think that's it.
Trevor has no idea the amount of pain he just caused. And Rips folds.
Counting your chips now,
So I raised to 35. Yeah. 75. Can you put the... Oh, I short one?
No, you raised 34. That's okay.
Yeah, you said 34. I said 34, right? Yeah. So, can you bring 34 in?
Oh, yeah.
I'll pair and open the...
Yeah,
Yeah.
you crush.
You have me crash?
Oh, you can't
Charge,
talk about
charge,
the
charge.
hand. You can't talk about the hand.
How much is that?
I think 40, close to it.
35, 38, 39, 40.
How come you have a full?
You have 40. The pot is... I call.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I have to go.
Overpair diamonds.
He says he has a pair.
No diamonds. I don't know what he said.
What do you
Pair
guys?
of flush
No.
draw?
Five?
No, once or twice?
Probably 5, 6.
Huh?
5, 6.
Sure.
Okay,
What
two
do you have?
times.
6, 5. You have 6, 5? Yeah, 5.
Rips is losing his mind.
Wow.
5 of clubs on the turn, and Charles makes 2 pair. They're going to run it twice. Can Charles win it
Lost
twice?
First board.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm good against your hand, baby.
No.
10 of clubs on the turn, ace of clubs on the river,
King 7.
and Charles and Trevor
Wow.
are going to chop.
We chop. Wow. Happy.
Wow, even the 5 o'clock
Had
also
you
giving
both
flush.
on.
Damn,
So
bro.
sick.
Also giving
That
flush.
is so sick.
Oh my goodness. You had the best hand. You kind of knew.
I
it.
know I had
You
the. I
kinda
know
knew
I had
it,
the
bro.
best.
Yeah, you
hand.
have all.
Rips has top set of queens. Roy has aces with the ace of diamonds.
Oh my God.
JRB has top pair with the 9 of diamonds in his hand. This
Well-
is a bomb pot.
All right, so JRB bet 700. Rips quick with the raise to 3,500. Action now on Roy with aces with the ace of diamonds, and he makes it
Here
10,000.
he comes again.
And it's Rips and Roy with the history, the banter, all of it.
Rips just makes the call. Turn is the deuce of spades.
$14.
40,000?
14.
Oh,
14.
14,
Okay,
14.
14. And Rips is just going to make the call. River is the king of diamonds, and Roy makes the nut flush. 50K in the middle. Roy has 30K left. And look at the smile on Rips' face. That's a wry smile if I've ever seen one.
$15,000.
15K is the bet.
How lucky he is.
Oh my God.
So lucky.
He shows it to Oaken
Show one card, Roy.
and lets go of top set.
Lucky.
Roy
He's
has
so
no
good.
idea
Wow.
how badly he needed that river card.
Shows
And the other
only
one.
the ace of spades. Roy raised here. Ace called with a couple of eights.
Can't wait to watch that last hand that you played versus him. 6, 12, 18,000. Call.
Trevor 3-bet to 2K. Call, call. 9, 8, deuce. This could be fireworks because Roy flops hearts. He's been active. He's been trying to win some pots back. Ace. Middle set of eights. Trevor probably going to get out of the way here. I mean, I guess he might come along, but probably just fold.
Trevor, what do you fold?
Sorry, bro.
9 of clubs on the turn. Ace fills up. Roy's going to probably think less of his flush draw right now.
8.
Instead, though, he's going to bet 8,000.
Oh, wait, what?
Wow. Ace moves all in, and Roy calls it off for the chips he had left behind, and we got 51,200 in the middle.
One time. I'm dead.
And Roy is drawing dead.
I'll give you monkey something.
Oh, what's flush draw versus a full house.
I keep. Roy just got stacked.
Ace is going to stack some more chips. Haven't watched JRB in years. Well, of course, he's made plenty of appearances on night. Welcome back to April 7th. No more highlights for you. We are back to the live action. Baurzhan Akimov dominating this final table so far. Chip leader with 6.7 million. Hemanth Kumar, our short stack, with 830,000 as we come back to 50K, 100K, small and big blind with 100K, big blind ante as well. My name is Remco Rinkema, Donnie Peters alongside me in the booth. We're calling the action for you until a winner is crowned, so please
Right at the guards.
engage with us. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from. All we ask for is that you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to ensure that we can continue providing you with this amazing content from the brand new Venetian Poker Room located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. Just the most easily accessible poker room in Las Vegas, I dare to say, because you can park right underneath it. Take the elevator right up to level 2, and there you are, ready to play.
It's kind of crazy how easy it is
It
to get
is.
in. Like
It really is.
almost. It definitely is too good to be true. But it's true. It's definitely true.
Edwards picks up the first pot here. And all eyes, sort of, Donnie, on Akimov.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no need for him to slow down at all. Just continue to drive the action. You have Kumar is over there with 6.3 big blinds. You have Iannotti, who's just over 9 big blinds. So Akimov can pretty much do whatever he wants.
Iannotti with ace-7 of spades. A hand that is quite a bit ahead of the ranges the player is left to act, given this 5-handed format. He's not going to jam. He's just going to come with the raise. And Kumar finds pocket jacks in the small blinds. What a good bit of timing here for the short stack.
Raise all in.
He's going to move all in for 630,000. And, you know, keep in mind here, Iannotti only 905 to start this hand. He's got to know that Kumar is going to be really, really tight here on the range.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have preferred Iannotti just to jam this. Obviously, we know he would have run into it. That said, if you are coming in with the 2 big blind raise here, are you just raising to fold if you get this sort of action behind you? I mean, we know he's pretty priced in here, so he has to call, but you don't love it.
All right, Kumar in a great spot to double up. Iannotti looking for an ace, some 7s, or a flush perhaps to reduce this event to its final 4 players. If Kumar wins this, he's going to be up to 1.4 million and really in contention. All right, here comes the flop. Ace 7-5. Kumar drawing to just 1 out. The Jack of Spades, the only card that could save him. Backdoor hearts available to him, but otherwise, he is drawing very slim, and the heart comes on the turn. All of a sudden now with 10 outs. Kumar looking for a heart or the Jack of Spades to survive. Otherwise, he will be our 5th place finisher. Can he find a miracle runner-runner combo to stay alive in this event? Let's see the river card. It's the 3 of clubs, and that will do it. Kumar eliminated in 5th place. He'll collect $11,547. Dustin Iannotti will be perhaps wiping some sweat off the forehead here as this run out very much in his favor. And we now have 3 versus 1.
Hurry up. Let's hear it.
Iannotti, Pai, and Edwards all with similar stacks. Akimov, the front runner with 68 big blinds. We got a very interesting four-handed battle on our hands here, potentially.
We do, and you know, again, I would still expect Akimov to just continue to be the driver here. He has this very, very big chip lead. You know, the other players do have some playability in their stacks, right around 17 and 18 bigs each, but not the deepest, and you can really put a lot of pressure on them if you are Akimov. So, and then, you know, building off of that, I think I'd be most interested to see which one of these 3, Iannotti, Pai, and Edwards, tries to maybe get after it a little bit more as opposed to playing conservatively and kind of trying to wait out your other opponents. And would that benefit you in terms of bettering your chances at ultimately getting heads up with, right now, what looks like it's going to be Akimov?
All right, let us know in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this? Akimov or anyone else? It's 56% of the chips for one player, 44% for the rest of the table combined. And Akimov continues with his limping strategy. Very curious to hear what his reasoning is here. We've seen him limp now 4 times. Ace, deuce, 6, 2 spades. Akimov flopping best here.
Could you call cocktails, please? Yeah. Thank you.
Just tuning in. 40-minute levels here on this final table. Final 4 players. Dustin with the most support in the chat today. Shout out to Deke Acosta, as always, hanging out. The now retired Deke Acosta. Thank you for tuning in. Marquise and Nick rooting on Dustin.
Can I get water?
Round of drinks here for the players, mostly probably waters and coffees. It's not like the cash game where the wine was flowing. Donnie, you might not have seen this, but I just want to emphasize that I once again got JRB's drink orders exactly right.
He must tell you ahead of time.
I would have bet this at the book if I could have. Of course, 2 weeks ago, I called for the margarita, white wine, red wine trifecta. This Saturday, I said, I think he's just going to go red wine. And there it was. Red wine, red wine, red wine. 3 in a row.
Yep.
Great, sure.
I mean, so far, all things considered, seems pretty easy for Akimov. And that's not to take away anything from the other players. He's just, you know, been running pretty well. He's been the beneficiary of the right sides of things. And it really does look like it's Akimov's tournament to lose, as he's now up over $7.5 million. Deuce is here under the gun for Iannotti. I think I would prefer to just put this one in the muck.
I wanted to pay twice, so you know.
Thank you.
We're okay with it.
You want to hold on to this stack as well?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, Edwards with a little reward for himself. Cheers on the cold one there. Reason enough to celebrate here. $15,000 guaranteed for the final 4 players. Queen Jack suited for Edwards. Going to come in for the min raise. 15, 15, and 18 bigs respectively for the quote-unquote shorter stacks.
I know it may not seem like much, but those 2 raise and takes for Edwards do make you feel a little bit better, putting that separation between where you sit and where Iannotti and Pi are.
And Akimov with ace-jack continues to find hands that he can apply pressure with. Queen 10-6, 2 hearts. Now, if we're Akimov, given our big lead, do we just generally try to apply pressure at all costs until we get anything to like worry about?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially a texture like this, one that does interact with your hand quite a bit here, you know. You can have a lot of that. You can obviously turn the nuts here with the king, so I think it's fine to just continue here. Edwards is kind of handcuffed, but what am I to say, because he just comes with the check raise.
Now, what gives Edwards the confidence to check raise here?
I think it's just kind of going back to the play Pi made, you know, I don't know, what, a couple rotations ago, where probably feels that Akimov is just going to be c-betting probably close to 100%, if not 100% of his range here. I have a hard blocker, which blocks some continues. That king blocks hands like, you know, king jack, king queen, stuff like that. So maybe I just win it right here. And then if you're Akimov, you know, you got to think, what sort of hands is Edwards check raising here, but also not check raising all in. This is kind of a wet texture. There are plenty of draws present. So if he had a hand like, let's say 2 6s, queen 10, you know, is he going to check raise not all in, or is he just going to check jam and kind of be fine with just winning it right there? Now that he check raised and then checks turn, you have a hand that blocks, you know, the queen jacks of the world. So I think you're going to want to fire. Now, maybe there's some argument that you can check back and just try and take that equity, but how much equity do you really have if you are just playing to a straight draw? And he's just going to put Edwards to the test here for almost all of it.
I mean, this is an absolutely incredible hand of poker. While it might not seem like that on the surface, the fact that Akimov, first of all, calls the check raise and then blasts on the turn like this without much of a hand himself just goes to show his willingness to go deep into the well here.
Yeah, and I think he assessed the situation as, listen, wet type of texture. I think if Edwards has something, he might just elect to check raise all in and not let me call in position and see a turn.
Wish it was at home watching.
And also, is he going to check raise and then check with, I don't know, one pair type of hands? Again, queen jack, queen nine, stuff like that. Even if he has those hands, a big bet like that on the turn, I mean, what are you going to do when you're, you know, you're pretty firmly second in chips, at least to start that hand. That's where Edwards was. Does he really want to risk it all? And the answer was no. So I think that's a good assessment overall from Akimov.
Dustin Iannotti with the best drawing hand in poker makes it 200K. Action pulls to Iannotti, or to Akimov, excuse me, and he gets, let's go the 6 deuce. Reminder here that the Venetian Poker Live cash game is back on Saturday night. It's going to be a 100-200 game hosted by JRB and Brian Oken. Lineup details are to follow. If you keep in touch with our Venetian Poker Live and Poker Go social media channels, you'll get the announcement on that whenever the lineup is confirmed. And then a special night of cash game action the following day, on Sunday, April 13th. It'll be a 25-50 no-limit hold'em Venetian Poker Live Ladies Night,
it's like blowing
hosted by Jamie
right
Kerstetter and friends. So back-to-back nights of cash game action coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday night. Make sure you don't miss out on that. And the best way to not miss out is to subscribe to the Venetian Poker Live channel, turn on the notifications, and that way you'll stay in the know. Akimov continues with his limping strategy. Iannotti seeing the flop from the big blind here with Jack 5 off. And the flop comes Queen Jack 8. Now, do you rather see Akimov take this sort of line or just raise pre-flop?
I think you could probably just raise pre-flop with almost anything. I mean, again, just make it extremely hard on your opponent. Even with a hand that isn't that pretty, Jack 5, Iannotti does flop enough here. And had you just raised, you know, you probably just win it right there.
Okay.
Pretty savvy check back on the turn from Iannotti. I don't think he should have any really concern that he doesn't have the best hand. Could have made an argument there that he's got enough to value bet. That said, you know, what might you get called by can be the question that you need to ask yourself, but you could probably get called by some 8s. Probably harder for your opponent to have hit a random 5 because you have a 5 in your hand, but maybe some 8s, maybe some ace highs. But also I think check back, you know, given the ICM situation is plenty fine too.
Nice chip there from Iannotti. Some decent separation between him and the other 2 smaller stacks.
Yeah, we just saw Edwards separate himself and then, you know, pull himself back to the pack after that check raise gone wrong against Akimov. So let's see if Iannotti can hold on to this second position.
And look at this. Yeah. Edwards picks it up at the right time.
And I was just about to say, the last hand with the 10-8 suited on the button, Akimov, and here with the A7, I do think there's an argument that he could have just ripped those pre. So this might allow him to get away from this one. I can't imagine Edwards is ever doing this light. So then it's just like, where's the bottom of his shoving range? Is it king-queen suited? Is he going to put those hands in? I mean, probably, yeah. King-queen off. I don't know. Is king-jack suited in there? I don't know. You know, Edwards has been snug, so I do agree with this fold here from Akimov.
Well, Edwards on the rejam. Still, you know, positive experience for him, but he would, of course, love to see a call there from the chip leader. Now, are there any other ways for Edwards to play this? You know, can we 3-bet small? Can we ever, you know, slow play in some capacity to make ourselves look weaker? Or in scenarios like this, are we sort of handcuffed to this one decision?
I think you're handcuffed to that one decision in that spot. I would say that I think you could slow play aces, specifically aces. You just have so much of a hand. Kings, I mean, I would even probably just jam it. Like, you know, I mean, listen, I know it sounds kind of lame, but you just call and ace comes off and you're just hating your life, right? So, and I think Akimov will have plenty of aces there that he could also find a call if you do have 2 kings there. But the ace-king off, yeah, I think it's just standard to put that in.
And Edwards gets right back to it. King 7 of diamonds, raises it up 200K. And look at this, Akimov just defending with 5-3 offsuit. Like, extremely sort of funny to analyze his game so far. Lots of limping, lots of non-aggression, and then also calling with hands like this. I sort of can't really make anything from how he elects to, I guess, quote-unquote, mix it up a little bit.
Well, this one is just, I mean, he's getting just way too good of a price. Like, I mean, Edwards makes it the minimum amount. You have to probably call, I don't know, all of your range. Now he comes with 225, does Edwards. Just bluffing. And there's the jam from Akimov, and that's going to win it.
Wow.
No, sir. Don't like it.
Akimov getting the chips right back.
I know it's not always the best feeling to move all in, but there I think Edwards should have put it in pre-flop. I think King 7 suited makes it in against the button. That or raise a little bit larger, come with 2.5x, 2.75. Deny Akimov from flatting, you know, the 5-3 off in position, and then ultimately you lose that pot.
All right, quick look here at the chip counts. Akimov up over 8 million now. Pi and Edwards in that 10 big blind range, as Iannotti now with the most ICM pressure given the value of his chips. Once again, much love to everyone in the chat. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff. Join us as well on Venetian Poker Live. We just posted the highlights from the Saturday game, and I can just tell you right now, they're going viral. They are well worth a watch. And then on top of that, we are posting lots of shorts for your viewing pleasures. And there's a lot more content still to come. Akimov jamming now with ace-queen. Edwards involved for the third straight hand. He's going to be under pressure now, looking down at ace-4. But before that, Iannotti finding sixes. And this is probably one of those ICM situations where you're just happy to get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Edwards, I think, looks pretty strong here, coming in with a raise off this stack size. So I think sixes are going to hit the muck, and they do.
Edwards has 9 big blinds behind. There's just too much probably that Akimov could still have that he's definitely crushed by.
Yeah, and if you do play the ace-4 off there, then I think you're just playing it to try and win it pre-flop. Maybe you're thinking, okay, I have an ace, we're four-handed, it's harder for my opponents to have an ace or a good hand. I kind of unblock all that weirdish middle stuff, you know, like the 10-9s of the world, for example. So I'm just going to come in with the raise, try and win it right here. But should anyone play back at me, I'm done with the hand, and that's what happened.
Can I have a Perrier and a lemon? Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Bet cards.
Now you're in trouble. You can't shake them this time, okay?
I already did.
Ah, shit.
Iannotti finds sevens in the small blinds. Can we be tricky here, or is sevens just too vulnerable?
All shit first
I
and
think
then
it's
all in?
standard just to put it in here. A little bit of some vulnerability, as you mentioned, to your hand.
I shook him second. That was the key. I'd like to keep him.
And, you know, that's fairly important there for Iannotti. Akimov gets out of the way. He's allowed to jam there. Yeah, of course, he had a hand, sevens, but it keeps Pi and it keeps Edwards, you know, at that arm's length.
Seven deuce game not on here at the final table. Donnie, when are we going to have a tournament that has a seven deuce game and the squid game?
I mean, why not?
Can we please have a squid game tournament? I know everyone's listening who makes those decisions. We need a squid game tournament.
I mean, we have double board bomb pot tournaments now.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, why not?
Let us know in the chat. How would you like a squid game tournament? Or, I mean, I should say a tournament where the squid game is involved, and or a seven deuce game.
Remember didn't they have a Chinese poker tournament one year at PCA maybe?
Yeah.
Can't remember if they had one at WSOP or not, but
Thank you. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Akimov opening it up here from the small blind with ace-8. Just going to take down the blinds and antes.
Who's the chip leader, by the way?
It's pretty close.
Crickets, crickets.
Raise 200.
Akimov makes it 200K. He's just going to continue with that raising train that he's been on. His VPIP, by the way, 52% at this final table, and that includes hands played prior to the first 3 eliminations. Pi only at 10%, largely due probably because of the fact that Akimov gets involved before he even has a chance to play a hand.
Yep. Yep. No, for sure.
Raise 200.
Ace-9 of diamonds. The recipe is known by now. The raise is always coming. Donnie, there's simply nothing more fun than being chip leader in a tournament when it really matters.
I mean, not just chip leader. Overwhelming
Yes.
chip leader. Like this is, I mean, he can really do no wrong.
Yeah,
right?
but
I mean, it's just-
like you know, we've both had we've both had good sessions, both in tournaments and cash games, right? But you never get the rush and the adrenaline in a cash game, even if you're up 10 buy-ins, versus what it feels like to be able to dish it out like this in a tournament.
Yeah, because, you know, the pressure is on in a tournament like this much more so than it is in a cash game. All these players know, you know, either it's going to benefit you or it's going to negatively impact you, that the blinds are going up eventually. So something is going to have to happen at some point. You're going to need to play for it. Whereas a cash game where stuff is much more static, you can kind of wait, and if you want to just nut pedal, that's fine. But yeah, so for Akimov, he's like, yeah, this just gives me free reign if these guys are just going to continue to not pick up hands or be willing to play back at me. And then the other guys all know that, listen, eventually at some point, I gotta gamble, I gotta get my money in, I gotta try and make something happen. Right now, that's the most on Pi. Like, you know, he's got 5 big blinds right now. He's about to post his big blind next hand unless he finds something on this hand. I mean, there really is no rush like being in the tournament chip leader. It's just a super fun position.
Totally agree. And I think the chat is chiming in similarly as Pi looks down at 9-7 off and lets this one go.
All in.
Edwards with the button jam, King 10 suited. Let's see if Iannotti wakes up with anything. He does not. And Akimov gives up a button here for the first time in a long time.
That's why you don't look, Pie. Come
I had
on, you
diamonds
don't
as
look.
well.
Jesus.
Me too, me too.
What's that?
Me too.
You had diamonds?
Only diamonds.
Wow. Well, the flush wasn't coming.
Oh.
Damn it. That Tammy's crafty.
Pie now with ace queen in the small blind, very short on chips, just 5 big blinds.
All in.
He's going to move all in. Terminally drunk in the chat says they're all scared and want that third place prize. I mean, you can't really fault them, you know?
Okay.
Grabbing a pay jump, always something worth considering. You play for, 2 long days to make this final table, and you're talking about like minor pay jumps along the way. And right now, if you outlast one more player, that's an extra $6,500 in your pocket. Joe Ingram in the chat, formerly known as the PLO genius, now, from what I've been told, mixing it up in the Hold'em streets. I promise that whenever we have a future PLO stream at Venetian Poker Live, I'll press this red button that I have here that will summon Joe Ingram to join me in the booth. The alarms will sound in the lair. The Batmobile will be activated. Some comments here, Donnie, on the perhaps tight and passive nature of the play so far. Any of this stuff understandable?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the juncture of the tournament where, listen, I understand it's not the most entertaining thing in the world, but Iannotti, Pie, and Edwards are probably going to make more money by folding, obviously, unless they pick up very premium hands. And then Akimov is going to just make money by putting these guys to the test as much as possible because he knows they're going to lean towards folding.
Blind still at 50K, 100K.
All in.
And Akimov with the understandable jam here. High in the big blinds. Jack 9 off. At what point do we consider calling it off? How short do we have to be?
I mean, this is pretty short right here, so it's... Is this good enough of a hand? I don't think Jack 9 off is. Probably for the one gappers, Queen 10 off. mean, king jack off for sure. King 10 off, probably yes. Jack 10 off is one of those where it might be a yes, but also like it can be personal preference if you want to, you know, open yourself up to kind of be on that line. I mean, at this point, I would almost just be like, Jack 4 suited, yeah, all in. Like, what's what are these guys gonna do?
Right, it's true.
I mean, like any suited hand. I mean, who even cares at this point?
I mean, Akimov is grinding him down to a pulp,
All
but
in.
you can even make the case that he's still being too tight.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't that weird?
He has folded a couple spots that I would have just,
Awesome.
I would have at least raised, if not just jammed my hand. But listen, I'm not gonna fault him because he's the one with, you know, 80% of the chips on the table four-handed, which is just absolutely incredible. Pretty good jam there, pretty important jam there from Pi, gets it through. So that now makes Edwards the short stack.
Edwards 6-4 off in the small blind, and he's just going to jam. Akimov with a suited queen only has to call 5 bigs. Desperation shove here from Edwards, or are we sort of forced to make a move like this?
Does feel a little bit desperation-y. I mean, even if you get called by a pretty wide range of hands from Akimov, I mean, how good is 6-4 off gonna play? I mean, he's not, I know he's the short stack, yes, but he's not that far behind Pi. I mean, that works.
Pay jumps here, 15.5K, 21,000, 29,000, 41,000. There's a few finger snaps and blinks of an eye between going home with 15K and 41,000. And Edwards here, back-to-back jams, hoping that Iannotti doesn't find a monster here. And ace-5 off. He's going to let it go quickly here. Would he make the call here if he was the shortest stack?
Yeah, if he was the shortest stack, he'd at least be more inclined to call.
Right.
Yeah. But again, you know, I know Iannotti was, well, he was at least second in chips not too long ago, but it's just, you know, you're going to try and make more money by folding, by outlasting your opponents.
It's not gonna work, buddy.
Yeah, with a shot.
And are we going to see 3 shoves in a row right now? Instead, he makes it 400,000. Now, you know, for those trying to learn a thing or two here from watching the stream, what's the difference here between him jamming and him like open raising the king jack?
I mean, I think ultimately he just has a personal preference, not willing to, quote unquote, risk it all with king jack off. So just comes in with a little bit of a larger raise sizing. We don't obviously know for sure because the hand ended, you know, but I would guess if he got jammed on by Akimov, he's going to find a fold there. But also the thinking that, you know, oftentimes you see people come in with a little bit of a larger sizing there. Yeah, the big blind did go up to 120K, but he still comes in for 400. Just being like, trying to, in a way, tell people, like, listen, I'm willing to play for this one. But in reality, are you really?
And right now, Iannotti in the dream situation as Akimov puts, wow, this hand, all of a sudden, monster implications. Pi finds queens in the small blind. Iannotti already calling all in for his tournament life with kings. Akimov with ace-6. Not going to be too unhappy to see these two pairs.
No, you know, all things considered, he's certainly not going to be unhappy that he's got a live card after that action.
Ooh.
I mean, wow.
Kings, queens, and ace-6 suited. Akimov probably would have put the chips in if they were both face up.
I mean, this is just absolutely wild. Yeah, I do
borrow your
think he probably takes the shot, you
Absolutely
know.
not.
I mean, look at the percentage. He's got 28% here.
I mean,
That's like, they're pretty good, all things considered.
Akimov with 28% to bust two players in one hand and get us down to heads-up play. It could happen.
How do I do a three-way all-in?
Ace-6 of clubs is the perfect antidote
Timer's off.
against these two big pairs as Pi tries to pull a fast one here. Gotta love that.
How great do you feel if you're Edwards, too? You're just like, okay,
Oh my
guys, go nuts. Have fun. I'm just going to hang out over here, hopefully collect my pay jumps.
Edwards rooting for the clubs to come out in full force right now. Pi the short stack, then Iannotti,
Sweaty.
then Akimov. Here comes the flop. And it's an ace on the flop. We might see a double elimination as our chip leader hits his ace. Iannotti and Pi looking for a king or a queen to survive. Unbelievable turn of events here as the 6 of hearts hits on the turn. This is absolute madness. We could go down from 4 players to 2 with the turn of a card, and there it is. Wow. Akimov
Good game,
gets the double KO. Pi will finish 4th for $15,400. Iannotti will get 3rd for $21,000. And we are now heads up between Akimov and Edwards. And we're talking about a monster chip lead for the #1 on the Kazakhstan all-time money list.
Chop, right?
What a crazy hand there.
Wow.
I mean, I kind of felt the ace coming. It's just been Akimov's day, right? Like, you kind of just sensed it.
Wow. Heads up action about to get underway here. Akimov with one hand on the trophy and the cash, because look at this chip deficit that Bradley Edwards has to overcome. 10.8 million versus 1.2 million. It is just going to be quite the uphill battle that he faces here at Venetian Poker Live. Blinds at 60K, 120K with a 120K big blind ante. We're going straight into it here. Time for heads up action. First hand of heads up play. Edwards with such a mountain to
400.
climb. I was going to say might just move on the first hand here, but instead he's going to make it 400,000. All right, we are going to take a short 5-minute break here to get set up for the trophy that needs to be present here when we play for it all. So please rejoin us in about 5 minutes here. Little break to to get us set up properly for heads-up play. We'll see you all back in about 5 minutes. Poker over the years, and you know he's played on the occasional live stream, but it's been, I believe, well over a year since he's last been on the live felt. As King Charles is just immediately applying the pressure, and Roy finds pocket jacks. We might have fireworks here as Roy grabs a handful.
Yeah, buckle up, here we go.
Rips is like, yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want to tangle. 6,500 is the 4-bet here from Roy. Action back on King Charles.
You cover me? You cover me.
And here we go, all in announced. And Roy's not going to waste any time. He's going to make the call.
Okay. Yeah, once, twice.
Twice.
Okay. Twice. Go.
Twice.
I have no pair.
Twice. I have a pair.
I have no pair. Twice.
We 50 Philippine. Twice.
Drawing hand versus
No
a
pair?
made hand.
No pair.
Nuts no pair. You have nuts no pair.
Nuts no pair.
Yeah, 50. Nuts.
Ace King versus Jacks.
I had an ace.
Running it twice.
Thank you.
Oh man. I had
10-6-4.
ace
Probably.
Clean for Roy here on the first run out. Let's see the river card. It's the Jack. Didn't need that one, but I'll take it.
To a whole boat.
You don't want to keep the river out there? Just for
Yeah.
All right, second board. Can Jacks hold up again?
Ooh.
And there's a king.
You wasted
Now
your-
only one
your
Jack left.
on the first board.
No, I felt like I was about to steal.
Yeah,
There
you
was a
wasted
7.
it on the first board. You didn't even need it.
Chop it up, boys.
Yeah, chop. Nice
Oh,
one,
that's
boys.
running it twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise.
Raise 1,000. 4,000.
Roy makes it 1,000. JRB comes over the top to 4,000, and Trevor finds Ace King. These guys have been clashing. Trevor counting out the 4-bet. Going up to 8,000 from the small blinds.
Give how Charles? Oh, sorry.
Action back on Roy. Oh, wow. Roy back over the top, 5-betting to 20,000. Ace Queen shrinking in the hand of JRB. Now we're back on Trevor.
Yeah, 20,000.
These stacks are deep, ladies and gentlemen. Very deep. Roy in position.
What the fuck did I walk into?
Trevor in the tank. He's going to make the call. 44,800 in the pot. Haven't even seen a flop yet. Now,
that just call there could do two things. One, it could allow Roy to possibly win a hand on a board like this, or it could have caused Roy to lose a lot more money should an ace come.
Now, Roy could also be thinking, what if Trevor has queens or jacks or a hand like that, but he's going to keep the pressure on, betting 12,000 on the flop.
I think he might just figure that Trevor just gets in queens or jacks pre. Maybe some concern towards tens, of course, but Roy's not going to back down
No,
here.
for the live stream link. I said, "Are you watching?" He said, "Send me the link."
I'm all in.
Oh, wow. Trevor moves all in. What a move. 60,000 shove.
Wow, Trevor.
Royski.
And Roy kicks him into the muck. Trevor wins it without showdown. That is the move of the night.
800, I call.
It's funny how the players who have already beaten the Squid Game for this round continue to win pots.
Yeah, so Trevor's got to win one. Rips is looking to win one. Brian Oaken's looking to win one. And Roy is still looking to win.
might have folded then.
Those are the 4 players that are left. And then, as you mentioned, Ace and JRB have won it twice.
7,000.
Oh, wow.
this is going to be very tricky because he could just think, you know, he's just fighting back. Squid Game's on. Here we go.
Magic number.
But he has an actual hand, does Trevor. So buckle up here.
JRB with trips with the ace kicker, Trevor with top pair and the ace kicker also. But Trevor needs to win one
Where are you from?
to get out of the Squid Game. JRB, meanwhile,
China or
going for value. Welcome back to Venetian Poker Live. We are down to heads-up play in this $800 Ultimate Stack tournament that had a $200K guaranteed prize pool. Baurzhan Akimov versus Bradley Edwards. The latter who has an uphill battle ahead of him. 10-1 chip deficit.
About 1.4.
Edwards guaranteed $29,400. The winner will take home $41,700. And boy, oh boy, can anyone stop Akimov, who has almost not lost a single pot here at this final table.
Listen, all things considered, he's down 7-1 in chips is Edwards, but you're looking at a 15K payout, and then all of a sudden you're cashing for 29K just because of one hand. I mean, that's got to feel pretty awesome, to be honest.
Well, we have it all in for you on the very first hand of heads-up play. Akimov with the jam with 7-5 of clubs. Edwards calls all in with ace-8 offsuit. This could be the start of a comeback. Significant all-in pot here as Edwards touches the lion.
Don't touch the trophy. You can't touch the trophy.
Oh boy. Let's see if that's going to backfire. Here comes the flop. 6-4 queen.
I like your hand.
Akimov
Like your hand.
not only drawing to a 5 or a 7, now also the open-ended straight draw, and we are 50-50 on the flop. Is Akimov going to just close this thing out in one hand?
What a flop for him.
Turn card is the 8 of hearts, and that is it. The tournament is over. The gold lion with the wings will go home with Baurzhan
Good game, man.
Akimov.
Good playing with you.
And Bradley Edwards will collect second prize money, $29,454. I mean, what an unbelievable final table performance this has been, as Akimov will collect the $41,707 payout for finishing in first. Terrific display by him, and thank you all so much for watching this final table that all of a sudden got out of hand when Dustin Iannotti and Timothy Pye busted on the same hand. Thanks for watching. It was quite a spectacle here at Venetian Poker Live. We're back with more streaming on Saturday night when the JRB game continues. 100-200 no limit. That should be a fun one. For now, have a good night, and we'll see you on Saturday.